I think by now a lot of us have seen that study called Earning the Bread and Baking It Too, that basically shows that no matter how many hours a woman works, and even if she is the breadwinner compared to her husband, she is still performing more unpaid domestic labor than her husband, even if she's making twice as much as her husband does. The article basically says that no matter how much money a woman makes, even if she is the breadwinner, gendered expectations around domestic labor still fall far more heavily on women. And this in turn has led a lot of women to kind of opt out of dating and marrying in heterosexual relationships because we are still treated like it is our job to be a housewife, even if we're working 40, 50, 60 hours in the office. But I think a lot of us don't know about the wages for housework movement of the 1970s. The Wages for Housework movement was an international feminist movement from the 1970s in response to declining government involvement and attacks to welfare. It basically argued that unpaid domestic labor is the basis of capitalism, and women who don't work but perform all this unpaid domestic labor should be compensated. This would in turn give women more financial independence and social recognition for all the invisible labor that they were performing. But then something weird started to happen, and single incomes from the husband no longer was enough money to provide for a working family in the 70s and 80s. More and more wives and mothers were forced into the workforce because their partner was not enough to provide for their family. So how come just the husband's salary stopped being enough to provide for a whole family? There are a number of reasons that we can cite for this. One of them is the decline in real wages of the 1980s, the decimation of the wealthiest income tax that allowed the 1% to actually start hoarding their wealth instead of having it trickle throughout the system, the offshoring of good-paying jobs to global south countries and the exploitation of the people and resources there, attacks on labor unions, just the general exploitation of immigrants in the United States that would perform jobs for cheaper than their domestic-born counterparts. All of this is to say, it became a lot harder for a single income to provide for a full family, so women had to work. But what the study shows is that even when women were forced to enter the workforce, they were still the ones performing all of this unpaid domestic labor. Domestic labor that should be paid. Because without laundry, without cooking, without cleaning, there would be no capitalist America. And it's all always built on the back of women. And I think women are starting to wake up and realize they want something more.